Great morning to you. It's your gal Key. Just going to use this video as an opportunity to talk about hopeless hope. And this is inspired by my recent video about ladies, why we find it difficult to say no to the non-progressive dude, which in actual fact isn't about the no, it's about the fact that we are fearful, I believe, of the feedback we will get from someone when we tell them no. My hunch is often we may realize how unimportant we are to that individual, and because we want to avoid the uncomfortableness of that reality, potentially, we avoid saying no, we say yes, and we never get to experience what I believe we perceive will be an uncomfortable reality. But you may disagree. If you do, put your comments below. But from that video, I've been having a few conversations with women who have inboxed me where the message resonates. And that's kind of led to the inspiration of this video, which is about kind of holding on where we live in hope. Especially, this is another one I see all the time, where say if we put a certain amount of years or love, or we've invested in the relationship, we kind of begin to see the writing on the wall. Intuitively, we know the relationship isn't right for us. But what we're now clinging to is what I've called hopeless hope. And, well, I call it hopeless hope. Us ladies, we often call it, I'm hopeful, there's a lot of potential. If 1, 2, 3 happened, things could change. The problem with what I regard as hopeless hope is the key word is in there, right? It's hopeless. And hope is a beautiful quality. I've traded on hope for many, many years, and hope in my dreams, and had a vision and lived in hope that would one day come to fruition. However, one thing, if I use the concept of hope in relation to the vision and key for change that I've built, is that my hope has been grounded in reality and has been, to every degree, built upon my actions. So my vision for key for change, being hopeful about that, what's enabled me to have control is the fact that I'm totally responsible for that. So I've been responsible for building the vision and taking the actions. And that's empowering for me, because it means that I'm totally responsible. Yeah. So I have to accept that I have been able to bring, if I lose or I fail, it's on me. Yeah. But when we live in hopeless hope of a relationship that Derek will man up and bring forth his potential and that things will change, you're not just trading on yourself. Somebody else is involved. And if you are not being transparent, if you aren't both on the same page, that okay, yeah, there's things I need to work on, there's things you need to work on, but it's just you one riding on the hope, then it's highly likely you're going to enter into some problems, because you don't have a mutual agreement. It's just you. And what you are also going to be doing is you are also likely to have a range of comfortable stories / excuses to help you to not challenge that behavior. So you're also, if you live in hopeless hope, you're also going to be engaging in denial. You're going to also have comfortable stories. You're also going to have ways to explain away that person's behavior that is problematic for you. And depending on how much you do those 3 things, explain away, justify, or deny, the writing that often is on the wall that we can say is the more likely you're going to be living in a fantasy in your mind's eye about how the relationship can be. And, having a fantasy about how a relationship can be is a wonderful thing. However, it's not grounded in reality. And that is something we need to be careful about, because when we're living in a fantasy, we may lose touch with reality. And that's when what will happen is resentment will build, frustration will build, and that seeps out. That's when we feel disappointed, annoyed, let down again, that our true feelings, the resentment, the anger, the annoyance, start to seep out. And how that happens for you, I don't know. But one way may be in your written communication, your verbal communication with that individual, because, you know, we know that we're using our so-called smartphones to communicate more and more. It may mean that you're one where you send a message, or you're watching the 2 blue ticks and all of that jazz, or you don't respond even though you've seen his message, but you're not opening up your WhatsApp, you're not letting them see. It's all mind games that ultimately, I believe, takes our energy and stops us, prevents us from using our energy much more productively. So if that speaks to you, then the real reality, the real true challenge that you have is one of acceptance. And that's what it's all about this month at Key for Change. Because acceptance, self-acceptance, frees you and will mean that what you begin to do, which is very uncomfortable and people don't like it, is it means that you have to take responsibility for the fact that you're in the relationship, you're choosing to be hopeful in the face of evidence that suggests you may need to knock that particular relationship on the head, or you may need to think about how much time you invest into that relationship, ladies, because remember, time is the most precious commodity we have, because none of us know how long we have on Great Earth, and time is one of the things that we can never get back. So that's my encouragement to you, ladies. If you're living in hopeless hope, it means you are often living in a fantasy in your mind's eye of how a relationship should be. And so when evidence comes your way that suggests the potential you see in the relationship is not coming forth, you're going to do 3 different things, 3 psychological things, which is denial. You're going to have a comfortable story to explain away the behavior, and thirdly, you're going to either avoid it in order to keep that fantasy alive in your mind. And if you've watched this video and you understand that concept, then ultimately, the more you become familiar with that, the more you become familiar with your 3 coping strategies, then ultimately you have to begin. You don't have to, but it may be prudent that you begin to take responsibility for yourself, and that requires a certain level of self-acceptance. Dude ain't doing anything to you. He's doing what he does, but what his behavior reveals is something about you inside that is often linked to a lack of self-worth, which is a whole nother topic. But if you struggle with self-worth, if you struggle with confidence, then check out the resources on the Key for Change page. I'm going to great lengths to develop free resources for people to help you understand and learn at a deeper level the challenges that you have, so you can take small, consistent steps to make beneficial changes to your precious life. Take care of you, because if you don't, who will?